Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is going to be a podcast style video, long form, no guests. I've wanted to start a podcast for like 2 years now and just have been constantly telling myself, oh, I need to get the space set up, and then I need to get like a table or some desks, and I need to get microphones and have guests lined up and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, nah, man. Like, think about Billy Bitch Tits or Joey Bag of Donuts. Those guys kill it, and most of their podcasts is just them ranting for for an hour or two, and it's always really good. They're hilarious. So thank you for tuning in. It's probably not going to be very good because this is my first attempt at any kind of content like this in this long form. We're going to be talking about just modern events. We're going to be talking about what's going on in Minneapolis. We're going to be talking about the plague. We're going to be talking, obviously, about technology. We're going to be maybe touching on some crypto. I was going to make a video. I want to start doing like an altcoin of the week, where I do like a 10 or 20 minute video every week on some new altcoin, and then like maybe buy some or maybe try trading some or something like that, So I was researching this thing called a Theta coin, and I really like the idea of it. I actually got the white paper pulled up, the Theta network, and then they have two different kinds of coins. And I started to make the video after watching a few videos on it because like it had this crazy price pump, and I realized like 4 minutes into the video that I was not qualified at all to be making that video, and that I needed to do some more research before I try to condense down this crazy project into a 15-minute video. So I don't know when that's going to be coming. There's honestly a lot that goes on in data, and yeah, we won't spend any time talking about it now because I'll just do that in another video and actually know what to say about it. But yeah, man, I'm having a very chill morning. I just walked to Whole Foods. I woke up. I was feeling like I wanted a cup of coffee because 2 nights ago I stayed up late, and so then in the morning I drank. Well, I didn't drink the whole thing, but I went to the store and I got one of those little tiny sugarless Red Bulls, So I had like a few sips of that, and I was like, okay, that's enough of this thing. I threw it out in the park recycling bin on the way back home. But that little bit of caffeine in that sugarless Red Bull, man, because I haven't had caffeine before that for like 2 months, maybe. Yeah, something like that. Basically, since the start of this, I haven't had any caffeine since I got laid off. So that little bit of caffeine basically kept me awake for way too long. And then, this morning I was like, oh yeah, let's go get some caffeine again. Let's reset the clock or whatever stupid things you tell yourself when you're craving something like that. But then I remembered these things, and my old coworker Michael, who was working with me at 4 West over in the design pit. We went to Whole Foods one time, and he got one of these, and let me try it, and I was like, whoa, this is like a magic drink, and it really is. They don't sell them everywhere. They don't sell them at Safeway. I gotta walk all the way to Whole Foods to get it, but it has all kinds of crazy mushrooms and herbs, super good stuff for you. The first ingredient is just organic coconut milk. Then it's got like some powders and extracts, cinnamon, butter, ashwagandha. That's a really good plant, especially for men. Man, it's really good. And but yeah, I was walking, and then I got to the fountain by Lake Oswego, and I was like, dude, I don't have a job. Let's take a little walk by Lakewood Bay. Took a little walk by the bay, and it was very nice. And then I was cutting through an apartment complex, like their parking lot, and there was this big hill. Not big, but steep hill. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go down this so I can, keep going towards my place. And so I didn't want to go like right down, and I saw that to my right on the slope there was like a tree, a very large tree, and then just uphill of that, a rock. So I was like, oh, I can step onto the rock and then step down to the base of the tree, and then I'm basically at the bottom of this incline. So I stepped onto the rock, and I looked down at the base of the tree where I'm going to be stepping, and there's a little squirrel, and his back is to me, and dude, I think I gave this squirrel a freaking heart attack, man. I felt really, really, really bad, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna prank the squirrel. You know, I'm gonna see if I can sneak up on him and just touch his tail, and I was able to do that. You know, I stepped down off the rock. He didn't hear me step down, and then I just crouched down and like, you know, fluffed his tail, and oh man, like he seized up. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm hoping that he was just extremely afraid and surprised, and that he's okay right now. But like his neck was like this, you know, like he was seizing up, and then like he would move around, like he would scurry toward at the base of the tree and like go up a little bit, and then he fell down once or twice. And I was standing there watching him. I was like, oh no, what have I done? What have I done? There's a squirrel dying in front of me because I just wanted to entertain myself by touching its tail. But I don't know. I thought to myself, maybe it's seizing up because it's just afraid of me. Like maybe there's nothing physically wrong with it. Like it's not having a nervous break or something like that. It's just still seeing me and it's still surprised. So I thought, hey, maybe if I just leave the area, and maybe it'll calm down and be okay. I hope so. Then I'll walk back after I do this and see if there's a squirrel body there. Eesh. But yeah, anyway, I don't really have any plans for the content of this. So we're just gonna be open form, because it seems like that's what all the guys that really have the long form podcast nailed down into like an entertaining format. They just do that. They just sit there and bullshit for an hour or two, and yeah, they find ways to make it funny and entertaining. But a lot of times they're just kind of rambling or not really saying anything of substance or entertainment value. So that's kind of the plan, is just to go at it. I brought like some stuff into my office because I was like, oh, if I run out of stuff to talk about, I can just grab one of these things to talk about. So yeah, man, that's kind of the plan. I want to talk about my career. I want to talk about why I'm probably going to be leaving the development industry. I don't think I'm ever going to be done with programming. I don't think, like even JavaScript. I think JavaScript is something that, unless Flutter comes along, and I don't know, you know, it's like, it's useful stuff. I'm happy that I had these years of my life to be involved in the industry and kind of add these cool skills to my tool belt. But at this point, it's like I am so sick of dealing with management's shitty decisions. It's like, that's not my job. The job isn't to deal with your bad decisions. My job is to code. It's your job to make sure that everything around me is set so that I can code. And yeah, managers are not doing that anymore. It's like I can't even get used to a team. I can't even like get comfortable at work before somebody makes a shitty decision and they have to lay people off because they either lied or miscalculated something or whatever. And it's like, I'm not sour about it, but I have had enough of it. I'm not really interested in doing that anymore. So maybe when I move, maybe I'll pick up a development job. Actually, you know who Grant Cardone is? I applied to some web development job at his office in Miami, and they responded back. So I gotta actually make they want me to make like a 60-second smartphone video of, you know, what I'm gonna bring to the team or whatever. So I gotta do that after I do this, I guess. I better make myself a note. I'll just do an obscure symbol that I won't remember what it actually means. So yeah, we're gonna talk about. Let's talk about that. Let's dive into that. So development, yeah, it is satisfying. I won't say that, you know, I don't get any fulfillment out of that kind of work. And I also recognize that all the teams that I've been on are not product teams. Okay, I've only worked for like agencies or consultancies, whatever, you know. They're not product teams. It's not building something for that company to go out and sell or use. It's people come to you and they say, hey, I need a website or I need an app or whatever, and you do it. And listen, if you're getting into development, man, you need to make it your goal to get onto a product team ASAP, because there's just so much less BS from what I hear. You're just working on the same thing week after week. You're trying to make a product better instead of making a product finished, if that makes sense. A software product is not going to be finished. The way modern development works, it's like we're not to that point yet where you can hire a developer, have them build something, and then it be sustainable without caring for it. It's like web apps at this point are like plants or something. You have to go out there and like water it and do your updates and make sure you don't have any vulnerabilities, and maybe you have to refactor something every once in a while, or maybe there's a new design trend that you want to leverage on and include some new cool color or animation over your buttons. It's like, but when you're in the agency environment, like no one even has that attitude towards the product. It's all just about getting it done and getting it to the point where it's acceptable. And no one cares about the code. No one cares about the engineering. No one cares about the technology. No one cares about the cool algorithm that you wrote. Nobody gives a shit about any of that. And they also don't give a shit about you as a developer. In fact, most agencies, if you just do a little sniffing around, you'll pick up the vibe of everyone wants to get rid of developers. Everyone wants to figure out, hey, how can we not write code? And it's like, just do dumber shit. Just stick to your ad campaigns and your Photoshop. That's how you don't code. That's how you don't have to deal with developers, That's it. Stay in your lane kind of deal, Oh, man. Sorry, drinking on the podcast annoys you guys. I don't give a shit. My throat is messed up. I smoked like a black and mild 2 days, or maybe last night. I don't remember. My throat's scratchy though. Need fluids. So yeah, man, I'm just done with it all. Like maybe I'll get another development job somewhere, maybe, but it would just be for money. Like that's it. It would be like, let me get myself financially stable, and so I can start investing again or something, and then quit. It would never be like, oh, I'm gonna advance my career and then I'm gonna be a product owner, or maybe I'll learn machine learning and get into some data analysis. And it's like, I still want to actually do data analysis, just not at work, not for a job. I just want to learn this stuff on my own. I got some books on it. I don't know. I don't have a Udemy course on any of that stuff yet. I don't know. Yeah, no. I got one on like pandas and Seaborn and all those Python analysis libraries that I went through, where you're using like the Jupyter notebook or the Juniper notebook, whatever it's called, and you're doing your stuff in there, your visualizations and data parsing. So yeah, I played around a little bit with it, but I can only imagine that doing that kind of work for that style of business is going to be the same thing as building web apps for them, just a different flavor. Like, you're still doing technical work for assholes that don't appreciate technical things. So, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that. Again, maybe if it was like a product team data analysis, maybe that would be something that's good. But I don't know. I want to make my own product, dude. At this point in my life, like, I'm getting close to 30. This is the time where you either decide like, hey, I'm gonna accomplish something or not. As far as like, I'm not saying that once you're over 30, you can't do anything with your life. But what I am saying is that by the numbers, if you look at like all the mathematical discoveries or not scientific discoveries, but like mathematical proofs and like hard physics equations, all of those get developed when someone is 28 or 29 or 30. Like, basically that's when your brain is at peak performance capacity, and that's where I'm at in my life right now. And so I don't want to spend my days dealing with other people's bad ideas and then them telling me how to execute their bad idea. It's like it's just not, it's not for me, not right now. Maybe later again in the future. But my plan is to leave behind the whole Oregon thing, leave behind Lake Oswego and Portland, at least for now. I don't want to come back maybe in a few years, but for me right now, I've just been socially isolated since I moved here. I've been only focused on money and work and yada yada and development, and it's like staring at a screen, pressing buttons really fast, thinking about weird little technical puzzles. It's like, yeah, it's fulfilling. Yeah, you'll get paid very well for it, but it's no way to live your life. I say the best route for most developers is to get up to six figures and then work, for a year or two, however long it takes for you to get set, get stable, and start making some investments. And from there, take a few months off. And ride on your earnings and figure out, do you want to keep doing this? Do you want to do something else? Because for me, I got forced into the situation. I got laid off because of the virus. So for me, it's like I got that opportunity to reevaluate how I was doing things, just kind of forced on me, or gifted to me, rather, is how I really look at it. And yeah, I've decided that it's not for me. And after, a couple weeks of lounging around the house and putting in some applications on LinkedIn and thinking about like what do I want to do, man? Because like I don't believe that this plague is going to kill me, but it's a wake up call for myself, and I think for a lot of people that something is going to kill you. It's probably not going to be this unless you're very old or immune compromised, or maybe, I don't know, die in one of the riots or something like that, if you consider that related. Where was I going with that? Shit. Oh yeah. So yeah, I got this opportunity to take a break, and reevaluate what I was doing in my life. And I was racking my brains, and I was trying to come up with a list of like the most exuberant, most rich, just the fullest moments of my life. Not necessarily the happiest, but like the challenging, the rich moments where you just feel human and you feel alive. And the list that I came up with is snowboarding, not necessarily in order. They're all really, really good sensations to me. Snowboarding, sailing, and scuba diving. And those are like my top 3 favorite sensations that I've experienced in life. And so I don't know, man. I just I started looking around, and I was like, maybe I should try to figure out if I can like make a new career or a new lifestyle around one of those 3 things, or scuba diving, that's in the water, and sailing's in the water. That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, well, let's go for the water, because that's 2 out of 3 versus the snow is just snowboarding, and I can go take a trip to a mountain and snowboard, whatever. I don't need to live on the mountain, And I got to researching online, and I'm finding these people online that are living on boats, man. Like they're on YouTube. They're making. It's usually like a couple. They usually got a sailboat, and they're just living on these boats, and they're just sailing around. And whether they're coastal cruisers or they're just hanging out at a mooring for months at a time, or going across the Atlantic, in a little sailboat. It's like, I want to do all of that. That sounds amazing. People they put dive compressors. What I'm really interested in is the sailing catamarans. I've really, really nerded out on these things and the designs and the different brands. Yeah, I've gone super, super deep on the sailing catamarans. I like them a lot. I think the optimal thing to get. Well, basically, there's 2 options, right? There's 2 routes that I could go with this. I was talking to my buddy Ben on the phone yesterday about this. There's kind of 2 routes that I could take. the first route that I could take is to just say fuck it and go for it and get a cheaper boat, which would be like a Gemini. It's called a Gemini 105 MC if you want to look it up. I think it's like 34 or 37 feet. But yeah, just a little tiny catamaran. Yeah, and so I could pick up one of those for like 80 grand and just say screw it, leave everything. Maybe put some stuff in storage or something like that. Maybe put my nice desk in storage and yeah, pack everything else on the boat and set off. The other option. Now, the reason I don't like there's pluses and there's pros and cons, of course, to all options for getting the Gemini. The pros of that boat are actually like surprising. It's one of the only boats that has. It's one of the only sailing catamarans that has what's called centerboards. So with a regular sailboat, the hull, a mono hull, is just one big hull shaped like this kind of. It's got like a keel, like down in this V cut. That's the keel, and that's usually filled with something really, really heavy, like lead. I don't know if they still use that. That's what they used back in the day to hold the boat upright, basically. And also that keel cuts through the water, and so the keel, basically, like you have the water interacting on squeezing the boat from one side on the keel, and then the wind squeezing the boat on the other side from the sails, and the sail kind of acts like a plane wing with how it pinches, and those two forces shoot the boat and shoots the boat through the water. And I didn't know this before I started doing all this research. I'd only been sailing a few times, but there's boats out there that can go faster than the wind speed. So you could have like 25 miles an hour winds, 25 knots of winds, and your boat could be going 30, just sailing. I thought that was mind blowing. And most of the cruising catamarans don't do that. Maybe like the gunboats or the Ultraman. As a French brand. I was saying Outreamer in my head whenever I saw that brand until I finally watched a video of someone pronounce the name. I was like, what is he saying? Ultraman? Ultramer? I was like, oh, that's the Outreamer. Ultraman. Okay. But yeah, those things are quick. The Ultraman is one of the brands that's gotten a lot of attention because like the top YouTube sailing cruising channel is called Sailing La Vagabond, and they're a couple. They got married on their boat. They had a kid. The kid lives with them on the boat. Yeah, people love those guys, and they have an Ultraman, and they sail it everywhere, and it goes really fast. Those boats are super fast, but they're also pretty cozy. And then the gunboat, that's the top of the top tier, man. If you want to see some cool sailing videos, I don't know. I don't know if other people are ever interested in stuff like this, but for me, I love nerding out on it. The gunboats are crazy, man. These guys, the one thing that they do that's really unique is their helm station is, I forget the word they use for it. It's some boating word, but it's basically forward of the boat. It's called like a jutted helm station or something like that. But it's basically more towards the front of the boat than the back of the boat. And these things just fly, man. And they're luxury too. Like they are luxury crafts. Not all of them are big, like in the hulls, like down where your bedrooms would be and stuff like that, because you want to keep the hulls pretty thin for more speed. But like the main saloon, the main area that you're hanging out in is just beautiful on those boats. Like carbon fiber and red cherry wood everywhere. I mean, you could finish it up any way you want. They're semi-custom. Like basically the way these things work when you're ordering a new one, which I don't think I'll ever do, but when you order a new one, most companies do it this way, where you basically are just ordering the hull, and then all the other options, how you want the internals to be laid out, what kind of cabinetry you want. All that kind of stuff is what you get to decide. Like if you want like a full-size fridge in exchange for giving up some storage space, or if you want, ooh, that was a good one. If you want a like more room for solar, and you don't want to do a fly bridge, which a fly bridge is just like a second layer to your boat, basically, where you can hang out up there a lot of times. they'll have the helm station up there too. If it's a catamaran that's over like 55 or 60 feet, pretty much. Most of those are gonna have fly bridges. I don't like those ones because I think I don't know. Maybe if I saw the right model, but so far all of the flybridge models that I've seen, even like the sunreefs, which are really high end and really big, I don't like the proportion of the sail area to the boat area, if that makes sense. Like if you look at the Ochomeras and the gunboats and the other fast, there's some of the fast ones too. Like those are just the two that I always go to because I'm like those are the two best, you know. But there's Maverick, let me go to Yacht World and look at all the yachtworld.com. Look at all the brands I've been looking at. Ice, that's a very small one. HH, I'm just looking at my recent searches in Yacht World. Macogny, that's not a fast one. That's like a luxury one. But yeah, there's really two routes. There's like the fat floating condo kind of route catamaran where the hulls are really fat, and that's okay. But it's like you're going to be cruising around the world at 7 knots. Basically, is going to be your top speed, which is fine for a lot of people. You know, you don't need to go fast. It's like going fast used to be an issue of safety. Like you wanted to be on a fast boat so that you could avoid the weather and be in safe places quicker. You know, it's also like a question of exposure. If you're doing a blue water sailing cruise and you're sailing across the ocean, right? If you're in a boat that it's going to take you 28 days to get across the Atlantic to Gibraltar, then you have 28 days where things could go wrong. Versus if you're in a gunboat and you fly across the ocean in 10 days, that's only 10 days where things can go wrong. So it's like, it's just less chances. It is ultimately safer to go fast. But that's not really like an issue anymore because predictive weather algorithms have gotten so good that, and internet access too, right? So like even people that just have like the little dome internet so they can get internet in the middle of the ocean from a satellite, they're not sitting there like watching a YouTube video yet because the data is really expensive, the plans are expensive, but it is enough data that you can once a day go online and hit download for the new weather file for that day. And it's like nowadays, because these things are so good, it's like you don't even have to do it every day. You can do it once a week because the algorithms are so good that it's like you do it this day and then you do it the day after that. It's like nothing has changed at all a lot of the times. So yeah, I don't know. A lot of people say that it's not really a factor anymore, that you don't need to look at like a fast boat. But for me, I just think I would get a lot more satisfaction out of something that's moving more quickly. I mean, like I've only sailed on like single-handed sloops. So basically like very small boats. Like lasers and sunreefs and things like that, and it's like, yeah, just on lakes and rivers, freshwater stuff. And my goal is always to make it move as quick as I can. You know, it's like boom, boom, boom. You want to jive and cut and just make it go. And so yeah, I think the Gemini is unique. Let's get back to the Gemini and the center boards. So yeah, I was explaining the keel. That's where we were, right? So the monohull, you got the keel that keeps the boat upright and it helps squeeze from the water and the wind. That's what the keel does. So there's alternate things to a keel. There's basically two other options. There might be more, but from what I've gathered, there's basically three options. You got the keel, which is like the old school way, and a lot of the catamarans, they do use that. A lot of the cruising, like production catamarans, like, like your Leopards and what are your other ones? Like lagoons, stuff like that. Those are like production catamarans where they're not really custom. Where I was talking about before, where most manufacturers do like you're just ordering the hull and you choose everything else. The production catamarans, it's pretty much like they're just making a product and pushing it out, and it's not really custom at all. Of course, you can customize it after you buy it, but it's just a different business model. But a lot of those boats, they use the keels, the catamarans, production catamarans have keels, and then once you start looking at the ones that are more performance oriented, or a lot of just the ones that are advertised as blue water, and they're not even performance, but they're just blue water cruisers. Those have these things that are called dagger boards, right? And so a dagger board, you've seen this if you've seen like a small sailboat, but it's like a long board basically, and it goes down through the middle of the hole and then into the water, so that instead of a keel on the bottom of your hole, you have like a hole. This is the bottom of your hole, and then your centerboard is up in here, like in a well. They call it a centerboard well. And then when you want to drop your centerboard, it goes down. So now you have the same action as a keel, but you can retract it, and you can also determine, hey, I just want a little bit of it, or I want to like just a few inches of my centerboard in the water. And the reason that the centerboards are cool is because they're more performant than a keel. They actually work better. They do the job better, and they allow you to point into the wind more. So like if the wind, like let's say you're over here, and the island you want to get to is right here, and the wind is just going like almost directly against you. If you have centerboards, if you have a centerboard boat, you can point into the wind a lot better with less slipping, they call it, and just more speed in general. And the cool thing about a catamaran is that you have two holes, so that means you have two centerboards, right? Usually the way that you want to do it is you want to put your windward centerboard down and raise the other one. Yeah, that usually gives you the best performance. But those are also cool because let's say that you're motoring somewhere or even sailing really slow somewhere, and it's just ridiculously shallow, like you're in like 3 or 4 feet of water, which is absolutely like that's where you're gonna find the best places to sail, or the best places to set up an anchor is like in the British Virgin Islands, or like right around like Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. Like these areas are amazing to explore if you have the right boat for it. And I'm from North Carolina, I'm from coastal North Carolina, and ever since a young age, I've always had the attitude of, if you're going to get a boat in this area, you should get a flat bottom boat, you should get a skiff, because that unlocks more areas that you can explore. And so that's what centerboards really do, or dagger boards. They go up and down. The thing about dagger boards is they're heavy as piss, because it's not just these big things that go up and down, it's also the wells in the hull. The thing that the dagger board has to sit in is big and heavy and durable, because you have to think about like all this has to have safety features and just be overly engineered. So the dagger boards do have some disadvantages, and you also have to think about, if you have this giant well for a dagger board inside of your hull, that's space that you're losing in your hull that you could have used for storage or whatever, a water maker, whatever you want to put in your boat. So yeah, that's dagger boards. And then the third option, keels, dagger boards, centerboards. So the centerboard, that's what Gemini has. And the centerboard is similar to a dagger board, but instead of sliding up and down into a well, it just rotates. So it has like a little space in the hole that it can rotate up into. And then it's actually really cool because like in the boat, like the interior of the boat, there's like these cranks. So you have to like go down to your galley, your kitchen, and put this handle into this little crank and raise or lower your centerboard. So I thought that was kind of cool to have like a mechanical feature like in the living space, number one. But the main thing about those centerboards, and the Gemini is like the only cat I've seen that really has them, is they're safe. They're just way safer. There's really no debates on it. Because you think about, you have something that's like rotating on a hinge, right? So the front of the boat, back of the boat, centerboard rotates up. So let's say you're in shallow water, you could be going fast and it'll just rotate up and not damage anything. I mean, you might need to redo a gel coat or something like on one little tiny piece of your boat. Like that's nothing, So they're safer. And Geminis, because they're small, they have low draft to begin with, so they're not really sitting that deep in the water anyway. And then they have these centerboard things on top of it, and it's like it's the ultimate way to sail through shallow waters, I think. The downside to the Gemini, I think the biggest downside for me would be the size. And I'm not saying that like I gotta have a big boat or anything like that, but like I like to pace, Like anytime I'm on the phone with someone, or like I'm thinking about something or anything, like I'm pacing. I just pace around my apartment or pace around the neighborhood or whatever. and it's a Gemini is like there's not really room to do that. So I don't know. Like, yeah, that kind of makes me nervous to spend all that money and then maybe be on a boat that just makes me uncomfortable, and I feel like I need to get off of it so I can walk around. I don't want that. So yeah, that's kind of the first option, is just say screw it and drop a bunch of money, get a Gemini, customize it how I want it, and sail out to the Caribbean, I guess, till all this blows over. The other option is to hang on to my money, keep investing, keep going into this world of Bitcoin leverage trading and commodity investments and all that kind of stuff, and see if I can grow my money and maybe keep working, maybe another software job, or maybe something boat related. Maybe I can get a crew job. Maybe I can work my way towards getting my captain's license, and you can actually get paid pretty well to sail other people's boats. So you can be like a charter captain, which for sailboats I think would just be the life, man, because it's like you're getting paid sometimes a lot of money. Especially like if you start your own charter company and you start buying boats and you start organizing everything and all that. Some of these companies charge $30,000 a week for just sailing around the British Virgin Islands. $30,000 a week. So you think about, like, if you get a production catamaran, right? Which is what most of these charter companies are doing. Most of them, it's like fleets of leopards, fleets of lagoons. They usually, like, there's this big giant company in Florida called the Moorings, and so they just kind of recycle from other charter companies, and they're also a charter company themselves. But yeah, you got to think about, you can pick up a new leopard, a brand new leopard, for less than $1 million. You can get a nice used leopard for $250,000, right around like a 45-foot or 50-foot, with 4 bedrooms and four heads, which is the boat word for a bathroom. Yeah, so you get one of those for $250,000 used, like maybe a 2016, 2017 Leopard 46-foot. And then you can charge $30,000 a week if your services are high end enough and the experience is worth it. Come on, man, that's great. I think that's like, I don't know, that's so much more appealing to me than like trying to figure out how to make a website make money. So yeah, the second option: grow my money, keep working, move to Miami, get a job, either doing some contract software stuff or a boat job, or even like a marina job, like maybe like doing like paint jobs or something on a boat. I wouldn't mind that. Like, I just want to get involved in the industry in some way, And so then, keep growing my money until I have enough to get something like just in the next class up from the Gemini, which would be like around the 50-foot range. When I first started looking at like the production catamarans, I was really attracted to like the shorter leopards and that sort of thing. But the more I learned about like the performance of these things, is that actually, like, the longer your hulls are, the more sailing performance you're gonna get, because you just have more lateral surface area for the water to push you with the wind and kind of do that squeezing motion that we talked about. And so I'm thinking like the 50-foot range is going to be the sweet spot. Maybe like a little shorter, but I think that right around there is perfect, because you got enough room on your storm decks, you're outside, that you can walk around, you could pace. There's room in the salons, and once you get to that size, the ceilings are not going to be like hitting you in the head, which I'm pretty tall, so that's important for me. But so yeah, that's kind of the second route, and that's more where I'm leaning, because I think I want to just get involved in the industry and go on a few charter cruises, charter sails, and just make sure that I actually like it, and that I do indeed want that life, So that's kind of my plan. Either way, yeah, not gonna be sticking around here for too much longer. What else? I don't know. You guys might just call it a day here. That was pretty nice for my first one, I think, and I got to talk about some stuff and talk about everything that I wanted to get to. But man, it's kind of burns you out. It's like keep forgetting what I'm talking about. Shit, harder than I expected. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna call this one a day. Thanks for watching, guys.